Hey guys, FatBuddyCat here. How you doing? Well, we're about to get back into it with our MM212PRO Def Duck Racing Edition. Alright guys, our Def Ducks were out there this weekend putting it down. Alright, they're putting in work on their bikes, and we're going to do the same over here at FBC. Okay? I've seen some of the footage, and these guys, they don't mess around down there, alright? So, true to fashion, we're going to make it happen on this bike too, all right, or at least the best we can. Now, this is why I've been putting off this torque converter situation, guys. We're going to be taking that off anyway, all right, along with the whole motor, because we got a package from EC Carburetors. Before we even see what's in that box, we're going to get this off, all right? I'm going to remove the cover. I'm going to remove the driver, the belt, and then I'll be after the throttle cable, okay? And then the bolts on the motor. This has a jack shaft the pulley's connected to, all right? So we don't have to worry about taking a whole plate and all that stuff off. You could actually leave the driver on and take it off up there, but I like to keep everything right close by. Already got our little magic carpet ready to go. Alright guys, so you know, I'll take the exhaust, and we're even going to take the carburetor off, guys. Alright, we'll get to that. We get this thing up on the bench. Alright, looks like we're going to get into this anyways, because guys, this thing is straight bum duty cakes. Alright, look at this. I mean, you see that? Alright. Hey, you want to do some of that? Alright. Look at it. Everywhere. Okay? I mean, there is just belt particulate in places it probably shouldn't be. Okay? This is stock. This is, well, you know, the motor's not. But look at this thing. Woo! Look at those worm snails. Ain't that nice? Well, yeah, I think we'll be addressing that one, but hey, look, that'll be our replacement. So, I'll get this thing apart, and I'll just put it in here for safekeeping. That's like the only thing that doesn't have a bunch of brake dust on it. Even the pulley's got a little bit, but alright, everyone's out alive, so that's what counts. Everything's off on this side. Come over here. Alright, disconnected my throttle cable. Right there. Alright. The last thing is just the engine bolts. Alright guys, I almost forgot that this bike actually has a kill switch installed on it, and you know, it's got the electronic umbilical cord down here. So fortunately I saw that and didn't try to pull it out and make a bigger mess. Alright guys, and on the bench we now have one Tillotson 212R Stage 1 racing engine. Okay, this is a 5800 RPM motor out of the box. It's nice. Some guys race with these as is, alright? But the things we have in our box over here, we're going to make it run a little bit nicer. Alright? Now these are from EC Carburetors, alright guys? We have one side cover gasket. Okay? We have one Tillotson 212R, okay, stock head gasket. Alright. We got a jet kit from EC Carburetors, guys. What do you think that's for? You got these 22-pound springs. And we have a stock length ARC billet rod. Okay, I think you guys know the name of the game. Oh wait, there's more. We also have a Tillotson PK660 cheater stock carburetor. Okay guys, this is going to be a step further than that PK3A that I showed you yesterday. Alright, but we'll get to that when that time comes. Meanwhile guys, I'm gonna have to strip this motor down, alright? So I'll get you back in a minute. I'm just gonna get the gas tank off of it, the carburetor, the exhaust, and maybe the fan shroud, and we'll just meet back there for the event. Alright guys, one thing that's different here, alright, is we're taking the carb, our linkage, and our armature and stuff off, alright? We're going to be saving this, alright? Because the Tillotson 212R comes with an ungoverned linkage, alright? Which is going to connect us from here back to our modified stock carb. Alright guys, let me get some more of this stuff out of your way. The 212R comes stock with the PK3A carburetor. Alright, there it is. So we're going to put that back in our box from our other one, and we're just going to mark this one 38 so that we know it's already jetted. Alright guys, we already know Felicia's getting evicted today, so we're going to send all her baggage with her. You might as well keep this together somewhere. You're going to want the springs, and sometime you might need that rod, alright guys? So don't throw those out. Alright, get the fan shroud off. It's up there. Alright, I got the flywheel off. I'm going to put that to the side. We're going to save that too. Alright, we're going to be getting rid of this black shroud. There's a bolt here, and one under here, and I think that's it. Alright, we're going to put that with the other one, as well as the two bolts. I took the spark plug out. Okay, now we're going to take the valve cover off. Okay guys, this has a rubber gasket for your valve cover, alright? Save that, that's reusable. We'll put that up there with the cover and the bolts. Alright. All my other stuff, my other filter and everything's in there, okay? Everything for our carb. And we just take that, put it on there like a jar, okay? Sometimes it'll, there you go, you know what I'm saying? Alright, now we're going to come over here. This is a 196R head. This is regular rockers, but this has split retainers, alright? So, big bonus. We're going to be taking this insulator off and then pulling the head off. Okay, while my head's off and right in front of me, guys, I'm going to be changing out these springs. Alright, and we're going to keep those on the side too, guys, because we might be doing some work on a stock like motor at some point, and I think these valve springs are better than the normal 10.8s that you would get in a Predator or something. Alright, so we'll just put those in a little baggie, probably take the 22s, put those in. Alright, so that's what we'll do. So on these, the first step, guys, we're just going to take our rockers off. So I take a 14, alright, and then a 10 up top, and I loosen that up, get those right out of the way. We're going to clean this all up, guys, before I put it back together, but I'm going to put the springs in anyway, okay? And, you know, I just keep my rockers. I know which one's which, alright? This is my intake, that's my exhaust. Sometimes it might matter. Tillotsons are pretty nice, it probably doesn't. Okay, so now I'm going to work my split retainers off, alright? And I think we'll take a look with those off and see what we can't spy. Already looks different though, huh? Those are definitely some nice retainers. Alright, and just like that, guys, Took me like 3 minutes. We got 22-pound valve springs installed. Okay? The reason we're going with these, we have split retainers stock in this head. Alright? And we're going to be running the stock 212R cam that is in here. Alright? So with these springs and this rod, we'll be able to safely take this motor where it can go on its stock internals. Alright? Now I say stock, but you know, here we are with our alright, there's a 196R head. Alright guys, so this is a factory modified 196 head with the 212 valves in it. Okay, all kinds of greatness. We're gonna put it to work. This also has a flat top piston. Alright, and with this piston and this head, Tillotson 212R is able to claim the most compression out of a stock 212 motor. Wiped it up for you guys. How's that look, huh? Pretty nice. Right to the top of the deck. Alright, that's that Tillotson 212R, baby. Okay, heads off, guys. I drained the oil out of it. Alright, next thing, we're going to be getting inside that crankcase. I'm going to wipe it down pretty good, but I'm really careful about this, and we're not milling anything, alright? And I'm cleaning everything as we put it back in this engine. So we're going to do a pretty nice job with this. Okay, we got our gasket off in one piece. They're just made really well, but we're going to get rid of that and put a brand new one on. Alright, and as you can see, Felicia's got a head start. She knows we're coming. Alright, the next thing we can do is pull our 212R cam. Alright, this cam is specific to this motor, and we're keeping it in here. Alright, and looking at the crank, where do you see this thing outside? But look at the milling on it. Alright guys, really, really clean, really nice stuff when you buy these motors. Alright, you know, and there's guys who run these stock. They race these stock. I've heard of guys pulling governors and running them stock. Alright, but you know, FatBuddyCat's gonna do a little bit different. Plus I'm doing it here on the tube, so you know, I want to show you guys the right way. Alright, and by doing this, it isn't a huge investment just replacing this rod. Alright, I already have the tools, the know-how, so a few gaskets and a rod to ensure the longevity of this motor, alright, and to ensure that we can run those 22s right out with this cam, you know, and produce power. Alright, that's what we're looking to do. You know, but we're $50 to $100 on a cam, right, that we're saving. It would be $70 for a PVL flywheel. Alright, so you know, plus we have that awesome flathead piston and that 196R head. That's what I'm saying, guys, you know. Alright guys, so while we got the cam here, you might as well get with the program on a little review, right? So check this out. Here is the 212R cam. Alright, and here is a stock 212 non-Hemi cam. This is a substantial difference there, okay? If you look at them dead on, sort of, if we can, you see how you can have more duration at the top on your exhaust side there on this one. Alright, where we have that bigger port, we're going to get more flow. Alright, and I think we still have the same kind of ramping, but in the back we have more ramping. Alright, and a way better design on our duration. So it's a real deal thing, guys. Okay, in this case we're going to be removing the crank to do a full governor removal on this engine. I've done other videos where I've done them without removing the head and such, but I already had a billet rod in. Okay, but if you were going that method, you could do it, alright, without removing the cam or taking the head off. Not even in the realm of possibilities here. Okay, I'm going to take the rod off. I'm going to pull the piston out. We're going to pull our crank out and finish our governor removal. Okay, and carefully pull our piston and our rod through the top. Alright, and what I do is I just spin it around and I protect my fingers mostly from the sharp edges and push the rod up from the bottom. Now we can pull our crank out. Next up, I'm going to pull this clip. I'm going to push that dowel down in, okay, and I might have to use a punch, okay, just to punch it straight down. Alright, and then I'm going to use the same punch. I'm going to punch this dowel here into the block, okay? I'll show you what I mean. Remove the clip, push this one through up top, governor gear falls out with the hockey stick, okay? And then you have a rod that'll be hanging in there, alright? This will actually have the wheel attached to it still. And you tap it in this way with a hammer, okay? It only takes a couple of good taps and it'll fall down inside. Alright, you're going to get on up in there and get all the washers out now. Bye, Felicia. Okay, we're now going to be sealing up the holes, alright, with a couple quarter 420 bolts. I believe these are 3/4 inch long. Alright, and I'm just going to carefully thread it into the aluminum block. Alright, be careful guys, these are stainless steel. Alright, and once I have a few threads in there, I'm going to take it out. I'm going to put red Loctite on it, and then I'm going to put it in all the way, okay? But I'm not going to go tearing those threads out, alright? Just use caution. I'll show you what you're looking for. Alright guys, if you look in there, you can see the threading, okay? So, my aluminum block is threaded, my stainless steel bolt's going to be going in. Now I leave a little bit of the virgin cyborg meat down on the end there, okay? And what I'm going to do is put this in. I'm going to add some of my red Loctite, alright? And as it goes in, it's going to have those, you know, virgin threads that it creates and lock itself in with the red Loctite. I do it this way every time. Alright y'all, you now have a governorless block, okay? It's sealed up. Alright, now in case we have any drippings, we're going to go back in here, okay, and spray this out. Some carbon choke cleaner, alright. That's all I really need. Alright guys, now right away I'm going to give it a good wipe down, alright. I'm going to go get a clean paper towel. I'm going to wipe this thing out real good, alright. And then I'm going to start to put just a little bit of oil, a little bit on my cylinder wall, a little bit on my bearings, okay. I'm going to take, I already cleaned up my head, okay, which is going to get it one more time before it goes on, but not yet. I'm going to take these out, I'm going to clean those off before we put them on too, alright. But one thing at a time. Wipe my block out. Okay, on your crank, you no longer need that gear, okay? That's going to be spinning your governor that's no longer in the motor. So we're going to grab our punch, a ball-teen hammer, we're going to bump that off of there. You just work it on both sides, it'll come, alright guys? Okay, we're going to grab our rod, we're going to get this apart, we're going to clean this up. Our Babbitt bearings too, alright? Okay, got a little bit of oil on everything, right? Put my little piece of plastic gauge across my journal. Alright. This is what your bearings should look like when they're set. They only set one way. You see how it's got that little groove, tab, whatever you want to call it. Alright, I'm sure there's a special important word for it, but it locks itself in, okay? But now you got to press them to seat them. Alright, so that they're almost one, you know? So we're going to carefully place this over our piece of plastic gauge. Alright, we're on there. Okay. Now both of our holes are on that side. Okay, this is our oil dipper. Alright, so if we were looking at the motor, that would be on the bottom, right? And our cam gear would be, in our visual, would be on this side. So that's proper orientation, okay? We make sure that we're not, you know, hung up on anything. just this way, we're okay. All right, our journal can completely close now. All right, so now we're going to add the bolts. All right, now these are special. Okay, so you got to get the right socket for it. All right, we're also using an inch-pound torque wrench. Okay, and we're just going to go up like 10 pounds at a time each side until we set this thing at 170 inch-pounds because we're using oil. All right, I highly advise you guys go over to ARC Racing and you watch their videos on installing a rod if you've never done it before. Okay? Okay guys, I've worked myself up to 170. Okay? Now you never loosen with your torque wrench, alright? You get yourself a ratchet and you loosen that thing. Alright, in this case it's going to be a 1/4 inch ratchet, but guys, it's going to be no sweat. You don't want to do that to your torque wrench. Use your tools right. Alright, so we're going to get that off of there, a little on each side, and then we'll see what we're working with for clearance. Okay, you see the plastic gauge there, guys? Alright, you see the square piece? Alright, that's where we're going to be taking our measurement. Alright, now we're going to go to the inch side, okay? So we're in our thousandths. Alright, and we want to be no less than 0.004, no greater than 0.002. Alright, so we're right in between 3/1000ths and 4/1000ths. Right there, okay? We're right where we need to be, guys. That's beautiful. Alright? Okay, in order to get our crank back in our motor and start putting this thing back together, we need to get the piston on the rod, alright? There's a couple clips. I forget which side it is. I think it's this one. If you pull it this way, you can pull the wrist pin out the other side, alright? Even if you take both, it's not a big deal, guys, alright? So we're going to get that off, and we're going to get it in our rod, but we're going to lube as we go, okay, guys? That's very important. Even with these bolts, okay? I lube those before those are tightened in. They'll be lubed again before they get tightened in here. We'll pull these tappets out. We're going to lube these. Then we're going to reinsert them, okay? That's how we're going to roll. Okay, guys, if you ever lost, the arrow points down, alright? So it goes in your cylinder this way, alright? You have it sitting on the rod. You make sure your dot is facing out so you can line your cap up once you have it in there. Alright, I'm going to clean this down a little bit. I oiled up my wrist pin and such, so I'm going to stay away from that. But I'm just going to clean the edges off, make sure there's no particulate on it. Lube up my cylinder wall, lube up my journal down here on my crank, and I'm going to start lowering it in. Alright, I also have a ring compressor, and it's around here somewhere. Alright, now we got our rod down in here. I'm sitting on the crank journal. Okay, I'm going to clean off my cap, lube it up. Alright, I'm going to lube my bolts. Okay, and I'm going to just hand tighten everything. Alright guys, what I did is I hand tightened them. Alright, then I'm going to start at 50 inch-pounds. Okay, and then I'm going to work myself up. Okay, 10 pounds at a time until I get to my 170. And then I'll just give it a little scoochy scooch more. Okay? So, you just take your time with it, alright? Make sure your crank is pushed all the way in, alright? You have a little side-to-side play. That's normal. But, push it in, okay? Make sure that everything's nice and straight. Alright? If anything doesn't feel right, stop. Okay? And then figure out what's wrong. Alright guys, by ARC specification, they tell you to take it to a minimum of 170. Okay, that's when you're using oil. I go 175, 180. Okay, it feels perfect. I don't want to touch it from there. That's that. Okay, anything else in here will just be quick wipe down. Alright, I'm going to clean off my cam. I'm going to lube that up. I'm going to drop my cam in. Okay, and then we already have our split retainers done for our springs. Those are done so we can get our head gasket on and get our head on. You see why I do all this stuff ahead of time, guys? Bam, bam, bam. Now it's just an assembly, okay? So, I'll see you in a few steps. Alright guys, I'm sealed up. And I'm torqued to 18. Alright, and I had a little bit of red Loctite. Just a couple drops on the last end threads. Alright guys, before I put this head on, look what I got for cyborg meat left on there, alright? There's not a whole lot left to mill, right? So, because we're coming up so close to the top of the deck, alright, we're like right there. This is with the stock length rod, alright? We're going to run our stock 212 type R head gasket, okay? So, straight up. Alright guys, spec for your head torque is 17. I took mine to 18, a little scoshy, and just a drop of red Loctite again. Okay, so just next thing, drop your rods in, alright, and you're going to start putting your rockers on, same way you took them off. Alright guys, so the next thing's going to be setting the valve lash, alright? I couldn't find an online manual. This doesn't come with a manual. I don't know the stock specifications. Alright, what do? Going all deaf ducks. Well, you can go right over, first off, to Mini Bike Madness, alright? You can go over to his channel, and he has a video where he correctly finds top dead center and shows you how to set your valve lash, okay? And then, you know, I also sent a message over to Zach's Pro Mod, you know, and he actually learned some new things about valve lash, okay? And another one that I talked to that picked up a second and third place this weekend was Justice S, alright? So, I always like to give those guys credit for the little things, but little things add up, alright? So, you know, it's nice to know you got a helping hand in these things, okay? So I'm going to set this valve lash. I just put the flywheel on, alright? I did not touch the timing, alright? I don't know what the recommended timing for this cam is. I assume if we added 2 degrees, we could. So we're just going to leave it alone for now. Reason being, guys, if I change the timing on this motor, I'm putting an ARC flywheel, okay? They do more than you think, okay? But as is, for what we're doing, this is how it's going to go. I'm going to set these valves. Okay, I got my 10 and my 14, and their recommendation, guys, you see it? The 0.002, okay? That's what we're doing. I'm going to leave my intake just a little more snug. And I find that that helps me with pull starts. Alright guys, this is where I bust out my crank holding tool from OMB Warehouse. Alright, I love this thing. Grey Goat recommended it. And I have not bent a flywheel cup since. Alright, so you put this on. And then you set your torque. Alright, again, I couldn't find the specific torque. I know it's 54 on most stock flywheels, so we'll go to at least that. Alright, and I'll get this on and show you what that looks like. Alright guys, so amongst this mess there's a beautiful engine, alright, and I have this set to 56 foot-pounds, alright, and this is how that works, okay? So just one of your bolts that holds your torque converter on, whatever size bolt it is, alright? Whether it's a Predator or a GX200, whatever, it's going to change, okay? So you just got to get one that goes in there, find the hole, set it a little bit. You don't have to send it home, alright? And it just makes it so much easier. I mean, never looking back. Alright, now that I'm done with the torque wrenches and stuff, and I want to start getting some room back on my bench, I'm going to reassemble the fan shrouds, the valve cover, my insulator. I'll get to right where I'm ready to put a carb on, alright? So, in a few seconds, when you see this thing, it's going to look a little bit different. Might even have the gas tank on it. Alright, we're really starting to get somewhere now. Looks like a real stage 1 racing engine, you know what I'm saying? We got rid of all of this stuff under here. No more of that malarkey, alright guys? I'll put this bolt on, alright, and get this all lined up when we put it on the bike because we have that kill switch, okay? Only modification I made to this, alright? Now, I would bring this down, except I don't want to keep coming down towards my gas line, alright? It just kind of floats where it is. And I think the tension from the throttle cable will agree with that, alright? But what I did is I had to come out side of the linkage here, alright? I guess I could have cut some of that off with an angle grinder, but instead I just drilled a hole out here a little bit further. Okay, I'm making sure that I have full return, alright, to the closed position on my throttle. Alright, all the way open, all the way closed, all the way open, all the way closed, alright? So that should be like, you know, who knows how many thousand RPM. Awesome, alright? Making progress, guys. Alright guys, I just have this thing loosely bolted down. I have my kill switch, you know, hooked up. And my throttle cable just sitting there, alright? So we can still run the throttle from here. No idle set. Start this thing, alright? Find something to lean you against. Alright. Well, I gotta need 2 hands for this one. Chokes on. Power's on, power's on. Alright guys, well I'm gonna have to get back there with the stubby screwdriver to set my idle. But that's just the stock jetting that's in that 660 carb. Alright, that's gonna be where we start. She fired right up, so I'm gonna tighten it down. Probably leave that header on for right now. Alright, and see what we can't do here. Running out of daylight. Alright guys, I got this thing pretty much ready to go. Alright, I got our throttle hooked up. Alright, everything's torqued down. I got the idle adjusted. Alright, I got a stock 30 series on there. I don't have the cover on yet. We're going to see how this motor does with the stock unit. I'm going to be getting some graphite spray tomorrow. And we'll go through this stock unit, and I think we're also going to try another 30 series, alright? And then, you know, if all else fails, we'll pull a juggernaut off something and test one out and see if we're going to go that route, alright? But I still have some more things to do, okay? We're probably going to do something custom with the exhaust, a lot more stickers and stuff for this thing, alright? We're not going to cover it up. We're going to keep it classy, but we got some winners, alright? And you know, you guys just have a good night. You check out Steph Duck Racing. Alright, maybe they'll have something to hold you over, but we'll have some action tomorrow. I guarantee you. We'll get this thing out, alright? So, that's that. At the end of the night, I think I'll pour that coffee out. My work in progress is going to be done for the day. Well, sort of. I still got to edit this thing. Alright. You guys have a good night. I'll see you tomorrow.